All right. Good evening, everybody. This is the episode 1 of a series of 4 questions where we ask people 4 questions. I'm the asker of the questions, Luke T Gilbert. T stands for terribly inexperienced at this point, but as we go on, we'll see what happens. I'm joined this evening by Rubin Winograd from Melbourne, Victoria. You are in Melbourne, aren't you, Rubes?
Correct.
That's correct. All right. Well, we're going to get straight into it, and we'll see where these questions take us. So, question number 1 is, Rubin, what got you into basketball and when?
That's a great question, Luke. What got me into basketball? I would say I'm 33, so I was born in 87. So I think I'm in the younger cohort of our BB Gun Fantasy League. But what I'd say got me into basketball was probably, I think, watching it on TV. Like, you'd watch the NBL, and I was a huge Melbourne Tigers fan.
Yep.
I was around mainly when it was Gaze and Leonard Copeland, was sort of my era. And I'd say watching that, I was drawn to it. And then, yeah, randomly, I think, like most kids growing up, you have some kids growing up, you have a ring in your driveway. It's a very Aussie thing to have a basketball ring in your driveway. So I just started playing in my driveway. And then, one day my dad took me down to the Maccabi, basketball club training session. And I just showed up. And I actually remember when you're new, and I started quite late in I think under 11s. So I was like 11 going on 12, which is quite late. Like, a lot of people I know start when they're, 6, 7, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I
started quite late. And when you got at that age, that's when the teams are graded, A, B, C, D, and this and that. And I started in D grade, but pretty quickly moved my way up into A grade. And yeah, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So I think, watching NBL, and then I was just drawn to the sport. I just loved the speed of the sport, the camaraderie, the teamwork, and it's one. I love football. I play a lot of Aussie rules. I used to play a lot of Aussie rules. And for me, the difference between that and basketball allows you to be creative. And that's something that I love as an observer of basketball, which is why some of my favorite players are a bit more flashier than others. Whilst I care about the fundamentals, I do love, the behind the back pass, the no look pass, that kind of stuff. So I think that was also, drew me to it, because the idea of shaking and baking someone and, letting someone breaking someone's ankles.
Yep.
I just loved it. So yeah, I started when I was about 11, and then been playing ever since.
So you're still playing now? Like, you're in a social comp, or you're still playing?
I play now Sunday nights at NSAC, the Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre, which is, the Sunday night comp is a pretty well-regarded comp.
Yeah.
We play in the, second division effectively, not the top division, in what I'd call a semi-competitive league.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. What sort of what size rosters? The size of the roster to me, and I've played social basketball since I was probably 15. I had a little bit of there was a little of an inconsistency with my high school career, so I sort of shifted out, and I thought, if I can't beat them, join them. Started my own men's social team at probably around 16 years old, and haven't stopped since. So I spent a lot of time out there. But like, the deeper the team, the bigger the team numbers, the more organized, and generally the higher profile it is. So how many on your current social team?
Interesting. Well, this isn't a reflection of it. It's a serious league, so it is competitive.
Yes,
but it is social. So we've only got 6 or 7 guys.
Mm-hmm. You're painting the picture.
But it's 6 or 7 guys who all want to play 40 minutes. No one wants to go on the bench.
No. That's the right number. That's the answer. Yeah.
7. We're all fit. We all want to play. Half the guys play in the VBL, Victorian Basketball League.
Oh, good.
Division 2 or whatever for the Maccabi team. And we're all sort of 28 to 35 in age. And we, the division above us, it's sort of a level above that we probably, without our best player, would probably struggle in a lot. So sort of comfortably enjoy being in Division 2 where, we're one of the top 4 teams. But yeah, we take it very seriously.
That's good. You have to take it seriously, and it's important to keep those connections. And that, like, all my dearest friends are all social basketball teammates. Like the bond that you make from having a team and with my own experience, like picking people, like combining the strengths. You can't just go out and you can't have all of the same type of personality or the same type of skill set. Like a good social basketball team that has success and long standing is carefully crafted, and it's there can't be 7 voices in a social basketball huddle. That's not going to work. So yeah, I'm glad you're still enjoying it.
Yeah, and look, I've got I grew up playing footy and basketball, and in my 20s I chose football over basketball, and I just committed to playing football at a high level. But all my basketball friendships and what I call my basketball community and network, has developed pretty much in the last 20 years. And like you just said, like it's something that I'm very grateful of and appreciative of. And it's a whole friendship circle of just basketball junkies, which I absolutely love. And people don't get it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in WhatsApp groups and we just love the NBA. We're addicted and we just love hoops talk. And, I love it. I'm fortunate to be, part of it and accepted. And I even remember when Tom invited me into this league to be a manager, I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'd love to be part of this.
So do you guys have the Glory League experience in the league that you're playing at the moment? Do they record all the games and you get to watch the video replays and all that sort of stuff? Have you got that facility in your social league?
No.
Oh, okay. We do. That's groundbreaking. Yeah, that's pretty cool having that.
We've only just got like digital scoring. It's pretty amateur, I'd say.
Yeah. Once it takes off, and then the next thing you know, they'll put some cameras up, and then that's a game changer, because there's no one operating. They follow the ball. They use some tricky algorithms and get it done. But you get more advanced stats, and then you get some highlights and because a lot of people they might be playing 2, 3, 4 games a week, and they like to get in and share and show off with their friends, and it's just an added element, another talking point. So it's definitely a good thing.
But I for me, I only play once a week. That's it, on Sunday nights. I'd love to play more than that. Occasionally I fill in for teams here and there on a Monday and stuff like that, but yes, some guys in our team play 2 or 3 times a week. I just play once. But yeah, I'd love to play more. But yeah, I love it so much. I just love basketball. It's so good.
And for any, do you have a family, Rubes? Have you got kids or?
Single on my own.
Yeah, see, that it gives you the opportunity. You could play 5 times a week if you wanted to, but you've got to have a balance, and your body has also got to be able to cope with what's going on. And one of the things that I see people struggle with is when they have the little kids, and they're that all the things at home are really, you must have had it over the years where you've had teammates disappear and they never come back. So it's very, very important not to give up that hour a week when you're in there and you're a part of a team. I know it's, I'm not saying that you should miss the birth of your children to attend basketball games, but pretty much anything after that, it's only an hour. So if you make it stick, you won't regret it. And that's the thing. I've seen some guys that have gone and tried to come back 5, 6 years later when their time frees up. And it's, you like coming into, I'm 41 now. It's like, the difference between your age and my age in social basketball, it's a big deal. So you want to make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny you say that. I've got time in my hands. I almost feel like I'm wasting it not playing.
Yeah.
It's not always so easy to find, teams to play in and stuff like that. Because I also want to play at a reasonably high level, and not just play crap. I hate when I play sort of lower standards. It's very frustrating. Not that I'm an awesome player, just no. That you can be challenged at. So yeah, that's a bit frustrating. But yeah, like two of our guys in our team, you know, their dads still play at MSAC and they're, you know, in their 60s or
Yeah.
so that's the vision I have, is one day getting to that point.
Yeah, I guess you should do some stretches then. So yeah.
Up Pilates maybe or something like that.
All right. Well, let's move on to question two, so we can stay on track here. Who's your favorite? I mean, obviously, growing up, you had the Tigers, and that could be a whole nother 40 minutes by itself talking about the Tigers, because we all know who number 1 and 2 are, but who's number 3 in the Melbourne Tigers? You know, who is actually? We will go back a little bit. Who's the third? Who's number 3 in Tiger? You know, they're two that are cast in stone. So one's cast out of solid gold. One's, you know, well, Leonard is Leonard, but who is the third most important person in Melbourne Tigers history?
Oh, I don't know Tigers history well enough. I'm trying to think of that era who I'd be watching. I guess like Brad Key obviously is pretty well regarded.
Yeah. Yep.
But I always liked Marcus Timmins. He probably wasn't around for long enough.
Yeah. Yep.
Always like Marcus Timmins. Who else? There was a guard. Corletto? Daryl Corletto?
Yes. Yeah. Daryl Corletto.
To be honest, I sort of phased out of NBL, and I don't want to say that out loud because I know Tom would be really disappointed in me. Because I do appreciate the work Tom does for NBL.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Yeah.
I do love the NBL. I do. I just haven't watched in a while. So, but yeah, I guess, yeah, for me, it was Gaze and Copeland, and then, yeah, probably Bradkey or, I think Bradkey was a bit boring. I like Marcus Timmins. He was cool.
Yeah. Well, Daylight. I mean, maybe, you know, maybe Dave Simmons. He's someone's in the news at the moment. So maybe Dave Simmons could be number 3. Who knows? Who is your favorite basketball team and why?
Yeah, good question. Well, I support the New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh.
And that was by default because when I was really little, I was given a Charlotte Hornets hat. And I was like, that's my team. I've been given a Charlotte Hornets hat. That's the team I'll go for. And then I got into Hornets big time when it was Baron Davis.
Yep.
Era. So Baron Davis, Jamal Mashburn, PJ Brown, Wesley, who else was on the team? You know, Jamal McGlaw. And then that transitioned into, you know, Chris Paul, David West, Tyson Chandler, Stojakovic. And they had that, you know, that run where Chris Paul was just that year where I think he was second MVP or third in MVP, and he just torched teams. That was like peak Chris Paul. And that's why I'm a huge Chris Paul fan, following him and Charlotte. Yeah, I just love the Hornets, and who cannot love that Hornet logo and that what do you call it, hexagon, whatever that shape,
the hive, yeah,
that print. That hive print and stuff, and it's epic. And that floor is epic. And then yeah, they moved to New Orleans or Oklahoma with the Hurricanes or whatever, and then they end up moving to New Orleans. I just kept following the team, and I go for New Orleans, but you know, I've got a soft spot for Charlotte. And I still love New Orleans with Zion. I think like Zion's a freak. Although I do worry that with injury and time, he may end up being a bit of a Zach Randolph just because of his size. And I have this vision of him just becoming like a 20 guy, but just, you know, not the high school dunking machine that we all thought he was going to be. Anyway, hopefully not. I love the Clippers, as I think you know, and I think a lot of the league knows. I love the Clippers, always have, and that comes back from Lob City days, or early Lob City days, sorry, the original Lob City, with my boy D. Miles, Q Rich, Lamar, Elton Brand, Corey McGee, that whole crew.
Yeah.
I go for New Pelicans, and I like the fact that I go for a non-market team. You know, I don't go for Chicago, I don't go for New York.
Yeah.
And I've been in New Orleans. I don't know if you've been in New Orleans. Pretty awesome. I mean, now's, you know, pretty sad time, but New Orleans is awesome. But yeah, I love the Clippers. It's New Orleans and the Clippers.
Yeah, that's nice. Did you?
I like going for the underdog. I love all my favorite players. My favorite players are underdogs. They're all guys who have potential and didn't achieve anything, and I like the underdog. So I like the idea of the Clippers doing well and the Lakers being shit.
Yeah, I can't, and this is why, but like in actual terms, we don't know each other from a bar of soap, but we have this strong bond because we have that same sentiment when it comes to basketball. And that's why, same thing, like growing up, and it was I'm a little bit older than you, so it was a slightly different era, but everybody was Michael Jordan and the Bulls. So I didn't do that. I went for the San Antonio Spurs and David Robinson, and it was like Dave Robinson, Dave Robinson, Dave Robinson, and then Hakeem Olajuwon ate him for breakfast, won playoffs, and then right around the year 2000, there was a few series on ESPN The Life, which good luck finding it anywhere. But they did like a little sort of mini documentary on the Clippers, and D Miles and Q, and the popularity of the team. And ever since then, it's been that ever since. Like I have 2 Clippers bracelets on right now, and it's not easy being a Clippers fan, and there's been a lot of trouble over the years, but the rewards from just having that underdog thing and just
look, I grew up, I probably didn't, when I sort of missed the Jordan era a bit, like I'm a bit too young, so I probably have a bit of a bias to Kobe and LeBron and stuff like that. I think LeBron's the best. I've seen Jordan footage, I've seen the numbers, I watched The Last Dance. There's something about LeBron which is just next level. And one thing I hate about America, or this idea about winning championships makes you a champion. Playing team sports my whole life, it's luck sometimes. Like,
yeah,
I'm a Steve Nash fan, and I look back to those Suns teams, that series when he got Amari got suspended, like
the Robert Horry thing,
but pushed on the bench, whatever, they got, checked him or whatever. Like sometimes it's luck or an injury or just a missed shot, and it's the difference. So I don't buy the whole championship thing too much, and that's why, like, I think LeBron making 10 straight finals, like, people give him a hard time. Well, he lost 6 or whatever it is. I don't fucking care. He made 10 straight. Like, it's just, if Jordan made 10 straight, I'm sure he would have lost one. Like, I don't see him winning all of
them. Mike, do you care to comment? On what Rube said?
Well, it's funny you say that.
He's not happy. He's not happy. See?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, this is a conversation that is replayed every single day on Instagram and Twitter about, who's what. And what's important is they're both meaningful to generations of basketball fans around the world, and they inspire people to do things. They're inspirational. Like, you talk to people like my age, or Paul, or some of our sort of, early to mid 40s that are really in, primo Jordan. Like, if it wasn't for Michael Jordan, my son's bedroom just over here is 20 years old, he wouldn't be alive. Like, that's like legit. It's degrees of separation, but without Michael, it set off a chain of events, and a lot of people have got these common ground, commonality with it, and there'll be people that have similar things where LeBron has brought them together, and then they've met somebody and everything like that. But it's just, they stand out. It's amazing that these guys, they stand out, so they seem head and shoulders above everybody, but there's people on any given year that come so close. Some of these forgotten players and everything that come so close, or former, he was 3rd in MVP this year and everything like that. And it's like, on a certain year in the last 10 years, you could say, oh, look how close to LeBron Blake was on this year, or, everybody has a thing, but it's the consistent greatness that separates those guys from, the pack, I would say. So
don't get me wrong, watching The Last Dance, you really appreciate how Michael changed the sport forever. And he made basketball global. He changed everything. And credit to him, like, he's an absolute freak. But, watching games now and the level of talent, and even international talent, like, when I just look at some of the numbers and I'm like, how people forget about Dirk Nowitzki sometimes. It's just like so disrespectful. I was looking at some Tony Parker numbers yesterday.
Yeah.
Parker's like multiple all NBA.
Yeah.
hate the All-Star thing, and I know Bill Simmons' podcast is big on this. No, it's not Bill, or Brian Windhorst. One of them, they're huge on All NBA. It's not about All-Stars.
It's All NBA. Yeah.
And I saw Tony Parker was multiple All NBA, and I was like, I would have not picked that. That he was top 15 in the league multiple times, but like guys like that are just absolute basketball gems.
Yeah, on an international level, and people like TP, they affect winning, like his shooting percentage, his whole career, you know, the way that he did it and how his efficiency and the way he fit in with the system. And it's, you know, and it's really weird how we rate people and how we, you know, how 20 points per game for someone in some market does not equal 20 points per game for someone in a different market. It's all circumstantial on, you know, winning, losing teams. You know,
I guess also the difference between now and the Jordan time is like right now, in my opinion, Steph Curry's the best shooter of all time, and we're witnessing that. I used to think Jordan or maybe T-Mac or Kobe were like the best scorers ever. I think Durant's the best natural scorer of all time. I think Durant is like head and shoulders above anyone else, like better than Harden or better than Jordan. Like Durant's a freak. I think Kyrie Irving's got the best handles I've ever seen in my life, and arguably the best finisher at the ring. Like we're seeing some guys who are just absolute like freaks at certain skills. And it's like such a cool thing to watch.
I would say that you're going to get a lot of support with most of the statements. Putting anyone above Jordan in actually putting the ball in the basket. I know Durant is a complete scorer and can score from anywhere, anytime. He has the length and everything to get it done. And he's still underrated, essentially, in the grand scheme of things, because he's had some just some inconsistencies. I guess he's been on a few different teams, and he's like, it's been a journey for him the whole way through. But I mean, such a beautiful game to watch, and his ability to affect the game at both ends. But it's
Jordan.
With Michael, it's a thing. It's just basically his will and his cold-bloodedness that is Kobe imitated it essentially and was effective with it, but Michael was still more efficient than Kobe and had, you know, he was just that dude. Like everybody, like he stopped so many people from getting where they wanted in their careers because they ran into Mike. Like that was it. It would have been great, but we ran into Mike, and that's common across all the great players from that era. Like Mike screwed, like he's a dream killer essentially. So
you learn that when you watch The Last Dance.
Yeah.
Teams that just, you know, Reggie Miller and whoever it was just couldn't get.
Yep. Everybody, they just couldn't get over the hump, and it was always that dude at the end with his arm in the air when push came to shove, the ball going through the net, and he was jumping on the scorer's table. And that's, you know, it's hard to argue with. Anyway, we're up to number 3. Okay. What do you do for work or for a career, and what made you choose that? How did you get into that?
Good question. So I'm a town planning consultant.
Interesting.
So I used to work in local government, and now I work sort of in the private sector. And town planning, I guess, in Victoria is very specialised. So in Australia or national, anywhere in the world, there's town planners, but in Victoria, you know, we're governed under the Planning Environment Act, and there's certain legislation, regulations which govern what you can do in planning. And to explain planning in 25 words or less, it's pretty much, there's sort of 2 types: there's sort of use and development, so how people use and develop land, private or public. And then there's sort of the long-term strategic planning. So, you know, where should big subdivision developments go, and are we going to have train stations out there, and supermarkets and shop jobs and childcare and all that stuff. So it's the strategic planning, like how are we going to map out Melbourne, Metro Melbourne, as it grows to, you know, 10 million people or whatever by 2050, which is really great stuff. I don't really do that. I do sort of more day-to-day, how people use and develop their land. So anywhere from developers to mum and dads who want to renovate, anything like that. Often you need a planning permit, and you need that from local council. There's about 75 councils in Victoria. And my job is to somewhat act as the middleman between you and the council to get you your permit or get you your decision, which isn't always a permit.
Yeah.
So yeah, what got me into that? I just remember at uni, I didn't want to just go and do a general arts degree. I sort of wanted to go, that was sort of my alternative, was just do an arts degree. But I was mindful I wanted to do something which sort of gave me a specific job. Like it actually gave me a career and not, I knew if I did an arts degree, I'd have to probably do further study after that or learn on the job, whatever that job would be. And I was always interested in architecture, always interested in the built form, very passionate about it. But I didn't want to be an architect. Architects don't get paid very well and you work crazy hours, especially in the young years. And it's just not for me. So, but I love really passionate about public transport. I take a lot of public transport. I cycle everywhere. And I love public spaces and public places. So I'm very passionate about any sort of big public space which people use and experience. I just love it. I love observing it. I love experiencing it. I love watching it. So, you know, Fed Square, that's a public space in Melbourne opposite Flinders Street Station. Whether you like it or not, when it was built, I don't really care. But I'm intrigued by the way it looks, the way it operates, from a safety point of view, disability point of view, sunlight point of view, longevity, you know. Will the architecture be dated in 10 years or will it stand this, you know, stand till time? You know, all that stuff just really interests me. Now, my work doesn't really involve public spaces at the moment, but maybe one day it will. Yeah, so that really interests me. I'm passionate about it, and I knew I could get into a career. The only thing no one really taught me was Victorian planning is Victorian planning. So it's to go into state or anywhere else. Yes, I've got some of the basic theory and principles down pat, but I'd have to learn all the legislation. So you're sort of starting from scratch, which is a bit annoying.
It's a tremendous privilege to be able to do something that you're passionate about day to day, and that's something that's that you should be congratulated on, because not everybody gets to do that. And you know, to be able to have the opportunity to go out and be engaged and you know, have some prospects and also some, you know, things that, you know, places where you want to be, which is we'll get to in a little while actually. But I'm curious, based on this, because I've actually done some observations in that space recently. What impact does the huge take up of electric bicycles and scooters have from a town planning perspective? Because I can only imagine that this is going to be a revolution in the transport of humans from several suburbs. You know, before it was like public transport, you know, maybe riding a push bike. But I mean, I have people that, you know, friends and family that potentially have, I don't know what the legislation is in Victoria, but in Queensland, essentially you can ride a scooter, electric scooter, 25-kilometre-an-hour limit. You don't need to have a license or anything. Anybody can ride one, kind of got to abide by the road rules. But let's say that you lost your license for any reason and you went and bought a $5,000 electric scooter with a 100-kilometre-hour top limit. You basically can just use that instead of a car now. So it certainly changes the way that people are, the timing that people use to move around the place, and their ability to you know, use other than public roads or bike paths or through parks or even cross grass. Like it is like it's growing at such an alarming, well, maybe not alarming, but exponential rate. And I'm not sure, are you guys having a similar thing there? Will it have an impact? Where are they going to put all the scooters? Like, what's the deal?
It's a good question. Look, I work in the city. Now, obviously, non-lockdown times, I cycle in every day. I live near the Yarra, so I cycle on the Yarra. There are plenty of people who are on electric scooters on the Yarra, suit and tie, or, you know, chinos and a shirt, and they're on their scooters. It's a game changer, I think. And I have an electric bike as well, which I sometimes use on the weekends. They're game changers. You can get around, you know, within a certain radius at a good distance, at a good speed, and you don't get sweaty, you don't get dirty, you're not paying for petrol, you're not paying for parking, and you don't have to think about parking. You just stop outside the door of where you want to go, And it's great. It's a game changer. I think for a lot of people, look, in Melbourne, unfortunately, people love cars in Melbourne. We're a car base. I think Australians love cars. And I think it'll be hard to get that shift. But I think anyone in a city with good, where there's a lot of traffic or good cycling networks, I think you'll see the uptake just increasing, especially as housing prices go up. I think people will be looking for more affordable ways to get around. Now, obviously, they're not great if you have kids, not great if you need to have a lot of cargo, but for just small, easy commuting trips, I think they're unbelievable. But most of my friends won't cycle because they're too scared of getting hit by a car. So that doesn't change that fear, but it does make cycling easier. Now, charging stations and storage of all that, I think the City of Melbourne, which is sort of the council in the CBD, they're already looking into that. We've got a client who wants to sort of involved in electric electric cars and all that kind of stuff. It's a real game changer in sort of how many car spaces do we need to actually provide? Is car demand going to go down? I say that, but during lockdown, you can't buy a secondhand car. Everyone's buying cars. So as much as I believe that they're on the up, people are still buying cars. So time will tell.
Yeah, people are buying cars in record numbers. And last year in Australia, more than 1 million new cars supplied. So yeah, they're all going somewhere, and people are spending all their holiday budget on cars. So we'll move on to the last question. 10 years. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Bit of a standard interview question, but very curious given the current state of the universe and how things are going together. Like, I think that question asked maybe 18 months ago would have got a different answer to what, this perspective that we're all given with this little scenario we're going through. So in 10 years, what's the plan, Rubes?
Interesting. I'll start it off with a really dark thought, which is some people, I don't have kids and I do want to have kids, but you see what's happening in the world today and you think, do I want to bring kids into this world?
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy. Like, by the time I have kids, there'll be so many mutant variations of COVID. I love movies. I'm a big movie buff. And I have this vision of it'll just be like the last man standing kind of thing. Very dark outlook, but humans are very resilient. Modern medicine's incredible. And I think we will find our way out of COVID and any other variation that comes our way. So I'm very positive with the outlook. I see myself probably, finding a partner and having kids. That's sort of a bit of a standard answer, but I think I'll get there within the next 10 years. I've been working professionally for 10 years now, just over 10 years. And something that I've really learned, what's really important to me, is work-life balance and taking care of my body and my mind. So I hope I'm still playing basketball on Sunday nights and I'm, playing at a reasonable level and I'm still fit, and taking it seriously. Like, I'm still playing with a similar group of guys and we're still competitive. So just even the little things like that, I'm not talking about, superficial things, just the thought of playing basketball in 10 years, that my knees are still working, my back's good, and I have that drive to still play, hopefully still playing ball. And, I love playing squash. I love cycling, hopefully still doing all those activities I love doing. What else? I mean, by then, New Orleans would have stuffed up the whole Zion thing, so Zion definitely won't be at the Pelicans, and he will.
You won't have to wait 10 years for that.
Yeah, I think in the next year or two that's going to happen. But I'll still be following the Pelicans. It'll probably be, still, depriving me of any major success, which is fine. Probably still in the same kind of job and profession. I don't see a major career change unless a friend comes at me with a great business idea, like the next Afterpay or something. But unless that happens, I'll probably sticking to what I do.
Yeah.
And I think COVID makes you, it sounds very mushy, but like I said before, it's just appreciating the little things you have in life and the things that you enjoy doing, which is just like like family and friends, and for me, it's playing sport and watching sport. And you know, I'm hopefully still doing BB gun. I hope my team is by then. You know, Anthony Edwards, he'll be 32 by then as well, or whatever, or 30 by then. So, but yeah, like all those little things. I don't care about, you know, the thought of going on a holiday or this or that just doesn't bother me right now. It's just like the idea of just being active and still being busy, and having my health, and still maintaining strong friendships with my current friends in the basketball and non-basketball community.
That's a really positive way of looking at things, and it speaks for a broader sort of positive trait that you have, is just the gentle appreciation. I think it's you know, you've got a really positive outlook, so you should be you know, that's a great way to think about it.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Look, I also haven't been to an NBA game for about 9 years, so probably at some point get to the States. And you know, I was lucky enough, I saw Jordan when he played for the Wizards.
Wow,
I saw
that's huge.
He played Wizards. I've seen Chris Paul live. I've seen Anthony Davis live. But you know, I wish I'll never see LeBron live, probably, and I never will, never have. I'll never see Durant live. I'd love to see like one of those guys live one day, whoever that is, for 5 years.
That's actually given me an idea for a good question. It's like, who have you seen live? That might make the list. I might have to. You might get that one. It is a good one. Who have you seen live? Because when you think about it,
yeah, that was cool as well. I saw a college game, OJ Mayo. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Ben Simmons. I mean, I've seen Magic Johnson play. I mean, I've seen a lot of guys, and it's but Ben Simmons came to Brisbane and played at my local stadium where we play. Like, we have games there Thursday night, and seeing Ben Simmons get from one end of the court to the other in 2 dribbles and dunk on that court, on the same court that 20 years earlier I saw Damon Stoudemire come with the Arizona. Yeah, it's just, you know, it's something else. Okay, well, we're right on schedule, so I've got one more. This is the bonus question. We're just going to squeeze it in because we've got the time. So okay, I got a prop. Okay, I don't know if you can see that well. Is that the reflection? Okay, so this is the dream team from 1992. Now, this is a little bit early. This is a bit early for you, but you got to build a starting 5 from this team, and you have 60 seconds to do that. So could you just go ahead and pick who you're going to run out there? You're trying to win the gold. It's the 4th quarter and the score's tied against the Spaniards.
Magic Johnson's there, yeah?
Yeah, Magic's over. No, that's Mike. Magic's over here. Sorry, above John Stockton. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to go Stockton, but you can't go past Magic. So I think you go Magic at the 1, Jordan at the 2.
Michael.
Is that Bird next to Magic?
Yeah, Bird's right there.
Yeah. So I've got to go. I mean, this is 92, so I can't even remember what Bird was like in 92, but
injured. He was pretty injured, but anyway, he's still.
I'll go Bird at the 3. Is that Barkley bottom right?
There's Barkley right next to the mailman. So,
and who's at the back there? I know I've got 60 seconds. Ewing, is that Christian Leitner or Ewing?
Yeah. Leitner made the photo. So that should have been Shaq, but we know why he's on the team anyway. So Leitner's there. You got Patrick, Scotty, the Admiral, and then you got Clyde over there.
All right. So I mean, the Admiral's at the 5, I guess.
Nice.
And who's the white guy next to Jordan?
That's Mullen. Oh yeah, you really endeared yourself to Tom with that. But yeah,
I guess Karl Malone at the 4.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, good answer. Okay, yeah.
Magic, Jordan, Bird, Barkley,
Dave Robinson.
Robinson.
Yeah, but believe it or not, you answered. There is a right and wrong answer, and you answered correctly. 5 out of 5. So, congratulations.
Fan. Being a point guard, I am a Stockton fan, but I'm also a fan of the flashy, and Magic Johnson was flashy. So
yeah, and if it's in a vacuum, we're going to pick Magic over Stockton 10 times out of 10. So yeah, awesome, man. Well, hey, I appreciate your time very much. Thanks for coming out. Episode 1, 4 out of 4 questions, and all the best to you moving forward. Good luck with everything in life and in basketball, and we will talk to you real soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Catch you
Cheers.
later.
All right, bye.